Adolfo, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. Um, Really excited to sit down and chat a little bit about commercial real estate, your background, and hotels with you. And there's so many things, a few things that really drew me to you and wanted me to sit down and talk to you. First, I was really fascinated if you were at a cocktail party, for example, and somebody said, Adolfo, what do you do? Because you've been so many things. You've owned restaurants, you've been an actor, a real estate investor, a hoteler. So how do you respond to that? If somebody said, Adolfo, what do you do?
No, that's a good question. I mean, I'm kind of embarrassed when people ask me because I want to say one thing, and I just sometimes don't know what to really say without being overly exposed. So I usually say restaurateur.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that for the longest part of my life, and it's, I would say, a little more humble. I always try to be humble when people ask me that question, which happens quite often.
Right. So, okay. So restaurateur, I love it. So I'd love to start with that if we can. And I'd love to go back to 1986. I know it seems that's a long time ago, but
it's been a minute.
There's something that happened in 1986. You started a restaurant called the Gaucho Grill, and I'm an LA native. And so being here, and especially in the 80s, the Gaucho Grill, I just got to say, it was a go-to spot for me, my girlfriend, and my future wife, and friends and family. And I'm not just blowing smoke, but we loved it. The Brentwood location, the Sunset location was probably our two spots. We were there a lot, and it was such a unique concept and such a different taste that we hadn't seen in LA. And so I wanted to ask you about that, how you started it, and where the concept came from.
All right, I'm going to make it short.
Okay.
It's a great story, I think. I just had that story about a week and a half ago, so I'm going to repeat it. I was going to film school, to UCLA Film Extension for making films and learning how to put together a movie. And I was also going to Lee Strasberg for actors. And then I was always sort of in business, and I wanted to learn what LA needed at the time. And basically, there were no places to eat in LA. In the 1985, 86, there was like no restaurants. The food world, it didn't exist in this town. Actually, in a lot of parts of the world, it didn't exist, especially in LA. It was pretty much McDonald's or it was Nikki Blair's on Sunset Boulevard, which was like $50 per person back in the 80s. You couldn't afford it. You couldn't get in. Anyway, so I went to see a friend of mine in West LA once, and he was going to UCLA Film School, just like me. And there was a ramen place. Just think about ramen in the 80s.
Okay.
There was a ramen place that nobody knew ramen in the world. I tried ramen. I actually tried cold ramen. Not the soup, but cold, where they do cucumber, egg, a little pepper, very beautiful. The bite of the noodle, it just blew my mind. And so, my God, I gotta do this concept somewhere else in West Hollywood. And there was this location on Sunset Boulevard, empty for years, where I heard a lot of celebrities used to go to that corner of Crescent Heights and Sunset, to the drugstore, Schwab's, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I heard the history about Schwab's, like, oh my God, this is it. And there was the deli Greenblatt's across the street with all the people were going there from the actor studio. And this location was empty forever. I said, what if I put a ramen place here? Of course, I couldn't convince the Japanese to do ramen because I was a kid. I was 24 years old. And I couldn't convince them. But I had my mind set in that location. I said, this is magic. This place is magic. I know in my heart. This is like where everything started back in the 60s. That was it. I kept calling the landlord to see if they would rent me the space, but I didn't have the concept. But of course, Argentinian food didn't exist in this part of the world. But then I met somebody that knew I made steaks in the balcony, and he said, Adolfo, what about a grill? And I heard for the very first time the word grill. Because we don't have that word in Argentina.
Oh,
Grill,
okay.
to you today, is no big deal. But think about the 80s. This is before the Grill in the Alley opened, before Baja Grill, Baja Fresh, and all this grill.
Yeah.
I said, my God, that word grill is magic. It's like parrilla, which is barbecue in Argentina.
Okay.
How do I combine grill with something Argentinian? Of course, now you think gaucho is no big deal. But at that moment, I said, well, I'm from Argentina. How do I do something Argentinian with something American? Grill was an American thing. Argentina was gaucho. What if I combine them the two? Gaucho grill.
So gaucho means grill?
No, gaucho means cowboy.
Cowboy. Oh,
Gaucho
okay.
means a cowboy. Grill means parrilla, which is grill in Spanish.
Okay.
So I combine them the two. And I said, what if I put a mustache, like a Mexican gaucho? That was the logo.
Okay.
But then suddenly I said, I have something. 6 months later, I convinced the landlord to give it to me. They made me put 6 months security deposit, which was all my budget to do the restaurant. But I was so set in my mind that this was going to be the right location for this particular food. And it was all about the chimichurri on the bread that made the Gaucho Grill. People sat down on the wooden table with cafe chairs, and then I give them some French baguette, which is typical of Argentina, but I give them a free something. Americans didn't know that anything could be for free before that. Something free without asking a question. It was a chimichurri that I kind of created because we put fresh parsley and oregano, a little bit of basil and crushed chili, and a little bit of vinegar, a little lemon, a little salt, and olive oil and pepper. And people thought, oh my God, look, this is free. We're free. 50% of your lunch, your dinner was already set with a basket of bread, butter, and chimichurri.
Oh my God, that chimichurri was unreal. I mean, you're right. Like you couldn't get enough of that.
Enough, and people came back for the chimichurri mostly. And then they had a piece of grilled chicken, which was no big deal, but there were no places to eat grilled chicken or a sausage, like a little appetizer or an empanada. It was very inexpensive. I remember 2 weeks after we opened, Julia Roberts came in and sat on the table after a screening at the DGA in front of Keith Sutherland when they were dating. And I looked at this girl, I go, oh my God, that's Julia Roberts. She was probably 27 years old. And just like that, Timothy Dalton was coming, and Dennis Hopper was coming to the restaurant, and just everyone, because the DGA was next door. And when they had this screenings, they had a break.
Yeah.
And before you know it, Gaucho became an institution, and everyone in their city came back to talk to me and said, Adolfo, please come to Woodland Hills. Because what? Please come to Woodland Hills. I have a location for you. I will put up the money. I drove to Woodland Hills. This is back in the days. Imagine a guy from Argentina with a little Honda Civic would drive to Woodland Hills, which to me was going to another country.
Yeah.
I mean, it took 45 minutes, but a lot of miles.
Right.
It was a lot of miles. How could I open a restaurant here? And then I realized CPK was just becoming to be the hottest concept in LA, California Pizza Kitchen.
Sure.
And CPK was opening in Topanga. I said, well, these guys are opening, I should follow them too. So it was very simple. It was Sunset, Studio City, Woodland Hills, Santa Monica, Brentwood, Glendale, La Cienega, the Beverly Center. Remember the Beverly Center?
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, the Gaucho Grill became an 11 location little mini chain that lasted about 24 years. I kept it going as long as I could.
So wait, I want to back up for a second. So you were a struggling actor, you were 24 years old, you come up with this concept, you essentially had no true restaurant experience, no real business experience, and this landlord all of a sudden decides to trust this 24-year-old kid with a restaurant concept when restaurants are one of the hardest things to pull off, especially in Los Angeles. And how did you raise money to build out the concept?
I was a business guy, even though at 24. I left Argentina when I was 21, but I started when I was 17 years old. So I was always sort of in business as a typical Syrian Jew, such as
Okay.
yourself. So I was always kind of in business. So by the time I was 19, I had a little mini factory in Argentina. I was manufacturing ski jackets. You know, remember the jackets like
The parkas. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. And they were very successful. I worked for 2 years. I made a small fortune, and I decided to retire at 21 and move to Europe. I lived in Israel and other countries, all Europe, for about 2 years. And I had my own money. So when I immigrated to America, I had my own money. It was not a fortune, but it was enough to open my first restaurant.
Oh, got it. Okay. Super interesting. So you didn't need to
So
raise
I
any
was not a
money?
struggling actor. I was not a struggling actor. I was mostly an actor that didn't want to put up with that title.
Okay.
I didn't want to be a filmmaker without a film. I didn't want to be an actor without a role. So I didn't want to say that to girls, mostly to girls, because I was 24, 25 years old.
Yeah.
And when I said, what do you do? I own a restaurant. That sounded better than said, I'm an actor. Or, what actor? I'm making a movie. What movie? So it didn't sound good.
Right. Now, did you do this? Did you bring in any partners at the time? Because there's so many moving parts to open up a restaurant. Did you have partners, or were you running this yourself?
No, basically my sister wanted to come to America, and she just got married back in the day. And she and her husband moved to LA, and they just were part of the restaurant a little bit, just with me for a short period of time, because my sister is a psychiatrist, but also she wanted to have some sort of income.
Okay.
So she was involved at the beginning in the restaurant. It was mostly like a family business.
Family. Okay. So
But
you brought
no partners. There were no partners.
partner.
No.
Okay.
No investors, no nothing.
Wow. So you grew this to what, 11 or 12 Gaucho Grills?
Yeah, locations. Yeah.
Location. So at that point, when you're up at that 10, 12, 11, 12 number, was this just around the clock, or how were you managing all these restaurants in your life at that point? Did it get too big, too crazy?
No, not at all. Actually, in the first 14, 16 months, there was enough money for me to buy my own condo. Even though America was in a big recession in the late 80s, the money was actually flowing. The restaurants were making quite a bit of money. When I opened the second location was 16 months later. I opened Studio City on Ventura Boulevard in an old Pizza Hut location. And I opened, there was a line out the door the first day we opened. I'm not joking. The first lunch we opened, we put a sign that all we had to do is put the sign that says open.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody said to me, in America, people are like robots. What you got to do, you have to tell them what to do. They're not going to knock on the door if you don't show them. So I didn't understand about the open sign.
Yeah.
Because we didn't. So when we opened the first Gaucho, we didn't have an open sign. So it was kind of hard for a few months, because we didn't understand. Open means come in, nothing means nothing.
Right.
Especially because people are driving. So when we opened the second location, I put the sign that says open. I'm not joking. The parking lot was full, and there was a line out the door.
Wow.
It was a complete chaos. We were not organized. We just opened the restaurant. How did everybody find out? There was no internet or no Instagram or anything for people to find out we were open. And somehow, one told the other, and everyone from the studios, they came into Gaucho. It was packed. The second day, we didn't know how to serve the chicken. It took too long on the grill. It was fascinating. Yeah. And
Yeah,
so it
no,
became bigger and bigger, slowly bigger and bigger. Every year and a half, we opened a new location. It was quickly. And what I did, I delegate a lot because I'm
mhm,
very ADD. So I always get a manager, and I let the manager freedom. And the managers were good. They were hardworking people. The waitresses were all from other countries. They were Swedish girls. I don't know if you remember, very cute girls serving the tables,
oh yeah,
Brazilians, Swedish,
yep,
Germans. It was sort of a place to meet people. It was really fun. So
yep,
every time I open a new one, the assistant manager of the old location kept saying to me, I want to be a manager.
mhm,
So I took the assistant manager, give him a new locale, a new
mhm,
restaurant, and they became the manager. It
ah,
was easy. It was actually easy, really. It was not hard. And the money was easy too. It's not difficult. Like today, it's brutal.
yeah,
It was a
yeah,
different industry. I remember the profit of the day at that time, it was 20%, sometimes
wow,
25% profit. I haven't heard
wow,
those numbers in decades.
yeah,
Then it became
yeah.
15, then became 12, then became
uh,
10, then became 8. Wait a minute.
Amazing. I mean, that's it's such a great story, and thank you for sharing that. Because I think a lot of people, here in LA don't know that, and a lot of us probably at some point, most of my listeners at some point have been to Gaucho Grill. So I love that. Um, you ventured off into a number of different like bars and restaurant concepts, and I know jumping up to say 2006 roughly, you were involved in maybe 15 different things going on with restaurants and new concepts. And so I'm curious, that's kind of a very strong work ethic, but do you believe in a work-life balance when you're creating and building sort of like a little empire there? Do you believe in work-life balance, and
Absolutely.
was it different then than you see it today?
Um, I was a workaholic. It's true. I try to balance it out a little bit with my life. I also remember I delegate a lot, which is good sometimes, but not so good other times. A
Do you
lot of the
trust
cons
people? Do you trust
I
people
do
easily to do that?
very, very easy. I very, very easy. I haven't been screwed that many times actually. I think the people that I hire, the fact that I give them my arm to do what they want, as long as they perform, it's it's a system I always had. I
Hmm.
always had it. I'm not changing it. Um, I do it all over the world. I have business in Argentina and Uruguay, and I put a manager, and the job is the manager, and that's your spot.
Hmm.
That's his
Hmm.
spot. Yeah.
Hmm.
I looked at the big picture. I can't.
Right, right. So do you still consider yourself a workaholic?
No, 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 no. That was in my late 20s. My late 20s, my early 30s. I was having lunch. I remember lunch was a big issue for me because I couldn't have lunch. I was very, very busy, and lunch was cutting the day. I remember by 3 o'clock, my stomach was just crawling for food. But I just couldn't. I couldn't stop. You have to stop in a place, get the food, wait for the guy, give the food, sit down, or take it in the car. I just couldn't. And remember, it was not easy to get a meal. It's not. It's easier today,
Hmm.
but it was not easy to get a meal back in the day.
Right.
Um, even going to a casual restaurant like Gaucho, it would take about 45 minutes to have. Like I couldn't. So by
Yeah.
3:30, I was just really hungry. 4 o'clock is when I just realized I could have something to eat.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
How
that
how was
yeah.
your health? Did you take care of yourself at that point?
No, but I was young. It was at 29, 20. It's nothing.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
nothing. It was nothing to me. But then I very quickly I stopped doing that. I think by the time I was 33, I decided to start having lunch, more
Okay.
proper lunch. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I get up meetings and yeah. But it took me a
Nice.
minute. I was building restaurants, not just managing them, but I was
Right.
always building a new one or two new ones. It was going out of control because then I started doing real estate. Well, we can get into that. You know, you can ask me
Yeah.
how it started.
No,
That.
yeah, let's do it. That's actually a nice pivoting point there. So the restaurant concept blew up very well. And then, so let's pivot. Let's go to
So
real estate.
let me tell you the switch. 86 started,
Yeah.
and it was 10 years, a decade. In 96, another big recession in the US. Restaurants were going under, landlords were selling the buildings, and some broker calls me and said, Adolfo, I got this building for lease. Don't you want to put a Gaucho? Because no, I don't. It was Third Street and La Cienega, which
Okay.
today is maybe the hottest street. But back in the day, it was just whatever street. It was nothing.
Yeah.
It was Joffrey's coffee shop.
Okay.
Famous coffee shop, 50 years open. And they said, no, I don't want to rent it. And somehow the broker said, maybe you could buy it. And it was really cheap, you know, to buy the building. And I said to myself,
So wait, Adolfo, remind me, what year are we talking about now?
96.
96.
So
Okay.
remember, I started Gaucho in 86. In 96, which 10 years later, there was an opportunity to buy properties in Los Angeles.
Okay.
LA is a city in which you never see signs for sale. You drive in any other city in the world, it's for sale. LA, no.
Yeah.
Only you see signs for sale when there's a big crisis. When landlords are tired, they're old, they have the buildings empty for a year or 2 or 3, and goes, fuck, I can't take it anymore. Give me the money, I want to live my life. Now you see signs for sale again. In 2009, you saw signs for sale again.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, you don't see them.
Yep.
But in 96, anywhere you drove, you see a sign, building for sale.
Yeah.
So this was Joffrey's. The broker said he wants to sell it, and I bought it. It was very easy to buy. I had the money. It was no problem. It was just easy. And of course, I opened my own restaurant, which was kind of a thing that I did. Every time I bought a building, I put my own restaurant in it.
So you paid all cash.
No, you didn't pay cash. You put maybe a 30% down. So the building tells you, to give you numbers, that building was $500,000 back in the day in 1996.
Yeah.
And I probably put 150 down, which was not a big deal for me. And then the rest were payments. And I own a building, you know, and then I put a restaurant called Antarctica, which was a ceviche bar, which was too soon for LA. You know, I was just trying to go ahead of the time.
Okay.
I had a couple of those. I had 2 of Antarcticas, one in the valley, one on Third Street. They were doing well, but I owned the building, so I really didn't care so much about if I made it or didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the beginning. So that was my first commercial piece of property. But a month later, I'm driving around and I see on Santa Monica Boulevard in Switzer a sign for sale. Huge building, half a block. I called the broker. He said $1.1 million. I said to myself, this is so cheap. $1.1 million, think about it, $1.1 million. If they ask you 20% down payment or 30%, it was only, what, 150?
Yeah.
No, 200 or
200 grand
300?
for, yeah.
250? I said, wait a minute. I can make that in 3 months or 4 months. I said, I'll buy it. So then I bought, every 3 months or 4 months, I bought another building at that time. It was that simple.
Oh my gosh.
It was very simple because there were a lot of buildings for sale.
Yeah, the
Shitty
market
buildings.
Yeah.
It was West Hollywood it's not like what it is today. It was sort of like a little town, you know, like cute.
And were you putting restaurants in all of these buildings?
I try to put restaurants in all of them. Yeah, either a restaurant or an office. So every time I moved my office from one building to another. So if I bought a new building, I moved my offices to the Gaucho Grill in the building. So we pay rent, and the landlord or the bank will say, oh, we have a tenant, which was Gaucho, which was me. Yep. Oh, he's a good tenant. He has location. Oh, it's good. It was all kind of like, you know.
Yeah.
It was like the Wild West, if you want to know.
Oh my God.
It was the Wild West. But I tell you, I would tell to all the audience and everyone that sees me talking, it was the Wild West then, and it's the Wild West today. we're back to zero.
Yeah.
There's always Go ahead.
What do you mean by that today? Like how is that today? How is that applied?
Every time there's a disaster like 2008, depression, or the pandemic in 2020, things are like raw. That's the word. Raw. Everything is ready for you to do today.
Yeah.
It's like no man's land. You could buy real estate. You can get amazing loans. You can come up with a restaurant concept that's never happened before. Forget the restaurant business. Come up with new restaurant business. The old restaurant business is over. This is the opportunity today to come up with something amazing. Open a restaurant that serves one sandwich. But that one sandwich is going to be amazing. You like it, you stay here. You don't like it, go somewhere else. There's plenty of people like just you guy that wants this tuna sandwich. That is with garbanzo beans. I mean, there's a guy that's making a tuna sandwich right now that is making a lot of money. That's why I'm referring to. Regardless, I'm trying to tell you, it was the Wild West then. The Wild West today again.
I love that. So it's funny, you never really set out to be a real estate investor. It just sort of organically happened for you.
I didn't know what to do with the cash, to be honest with you.
Oh my God.
We didn't know what to do with the money. Yeah, it was not a lot of money, but the restaurants actually provide quite a bit of profit because one location was good enough for me to leave and do stupid things and drink and party and go with girls. But the second one was extra. So, and the third one was extra.
Wow.
Then,
it was just...
with the extra money, I started building more restaurants. But after 10 years, it's too many restaurants. So there was too much extra money. I couldn't keep up with it.
The pace, yeah.
The pace was just too, because imagine 6 months of income of 6-7 locations was kind of a building.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, so lucky, and things just worked out really, really well. So yeah, I mean, it's smart to buy the real estate and not blow it all. What happened
on
now
the same
with all...
thing? I didn't want to blow it up into the same scenario, because you keep putting the money in the same company, and I could have grown the company to a big company. I just didn't want to be like CPK. I didn't want to be corporate. I kind of followed Chin Chin. There was the three of us actually. It was Chin Chin, CPK, California Pizza Kitchen, and it was Gaucho. Then Luis's Trattoria was into the game too. So there were not too many guys out there. The restaurant world was virgin. Then 2 decades later is when we had another recession, and the chefs, they started coming out of the ground. You remember? In 2008, every chef opened a new restaurant. And they started killing all the guys like us. Pizza became amazing. Animal, Johnny and Vinny, all these guys that opened these amazing concepts. We couldn't compete. We couldn't. That was like the Wild West again.
Yeah. Well, people started taking chances and coming up with new concepts, like you're saying, and a lot of those work. Yeah, I'm a big fan of John and Vinny's. It's funny you mentioned that. I love that place. So what ended up happening? So just to kind of close the gap on the Gaucho Grill and the restaurant, did you end up selling it all off? Did they fade away? How did the story end?
In 2009, landlords were very tough in the recession. It's like today, the landlords want to get paid from the tenants, and the tenants cannot pay. So some of the landlords are evicting the tenants, and I think it's wrong. I have many tenants, and I'm just going to wait for them to open. I could have put a gun in their head if they can't make any money. So back in the day, the landlords were very tough.
Yeah.
Very tough. And I just hated them. And I said, I don't want to put up with you guys. So I closed the restaurants, and some of the restaurants I give them to my employees, to the managers. You deal with the landlord, I'm out for free. I just walked away.
Okay.
I walked away, yeah. I didn't want to do that anymore. I was tired.
You're tired, yeah.
I was tired, yeah. I wish I would have kept Sunset, if you want me, because Sunset would have still be like an institution, like my baby. But It's okay.
So what about the ones where you actually own the real estate? Do you still own the real estate on those, or did
Yes,
you
on
sell
the
it?
restaurants, yeah, but there's no more gauchos in this part of town, you know.
Yeah, yeah, right. Okay, so you still own some of that. Okay.
The real estate, yes, I always kept
Yeah,
the real estate, but
you
the
kept the real
restaurants
estate.
I didn't.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So I'd love to kind of get into, the Whiskey Hotel a little bit. When I first read the article that this was opening in LA, I said, oh my God, that is such an original concept and very creative. Secondly, I love whiskey. And so I was telling my friend Eric, and we're very excited to stop by the hotel one day. So very, very curious. I'd love for you to share how this concept came up, and then I'd like to ask you some more questions about it. But where did the idea come from, and how did this come about?
Okay, in with all this mess, and when I was telling you about all the properties that I had and I was buying commercial real estate, one of the concepts I opened was the Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
You heard of the Phoenix?
Yeah.
It was original La Cienega. It was Tiny Nailor's coffee shop. I bought Tiny Nailor's coffee shop
Okay.
and I owned it, the real estate. And I decided to open a beer and whiskey bar with my partner, Ryan Sweeney.
Okay.
And Ryan Sweeney is a beer guru and is a whiskey connoisseur. And we opened this beer and whiskey bar called the Phoenix, in which we served one item, which was skirt steak and French fries and salad, like steak frite. It was
Okay.
one item menu.
One
You came
item. I
in,
love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you came in, there were no servers. You ordered the steak, you ordered the whiskey or the beer, you sit anywhere you want. There was a lounge area. It was amazing concept. The concept did very, very well. But then we got bought out by the metro station because they were going to put the metro station on La Cienega and Wilshire.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we sold the building to them, and then a broker, the metro station said to me, to be able to get the money for the relocation, you have to find the relocation, and it has to be in certain area. And somehow a location came on 3rd Street, 3rd La Cienega, across from the other location that I bought. Remember Joffrey's?
Yeah.
I bought a location across the street
Okay.
that had a liquor license, or it had a CUP, and the metro station approved it. So they gave me the money for the relocation. We bought the building. They helped us rebuild it, and we put the Phoenix, but
On
redesigned
3rd Street.
in this
Yeah.
new location, designed by
Okay.
me. It was more sophisticated, kind of a Frenchy English vibe with 250 types of whiskeys and bourbons and scotch.
Wow.
And it does phenomenal. It was out of all the stuff that I've done in my life, I could say the Phoenix has been one of the top 5, I would say. Really, just a small bar restaurant.
When you say, Adolfo, sorry to interrupt. When you say top 5, are you talking revenue or your favorite? What do you mean top 5? Success. Okay.
Yeah, extremely successful.
Wow.
From the moment we bought just one location, from the moment we bought the building, just the building itself was extremely successful. The purchase, which is an incredible location, then the design, and then the restaurant's been open for 4 years and it never ever slowed down. Let me tell you, in the pandemic, they allowed us to open. We opened the back patio.
Mm-hmm.
First day, 2 people, 1 person, and it just was, again, so successful. Now we're closed again, but I tell you, out of all the stuff that I've done, top 5, the Phoenix.
Wow.
If you haven't been, go and get a whiskey. It's amazing, and the food is incredible too.
I haven't, and I really haven't been anywhere since March, but I definitely will go there.
You will love everything about it. It's a concept, again. It's just a concept. It's a lot of whiskeys, a lot of beers on draft, and we have cocktails on draft too, with Ryan designed.
Uh-huh.
And then because whiskey was I thought everybody's doing tequila, which I love all spirits, don't get me wrong. I love tequila, vodka, whiskey, bourbon, I like them all. Beer, wine. But whiskey, I always feel like it was more sophisticated than tequila.
Yeah.
It was a little upgrade. You go to a party, tequila, whiskey, you just, you grab the whiskey, just see. Think about Bill Murray in the movie Lost in Translation. You know when he's doing that, you've seen the movie when he's doing the commercial, he's doing the whiskey?
Yeah.
Just so classy. And I started thinking, I didn't want to open another hotel, just another name, Wilcox or Selma or the Pantry or whatever. And I thought, why don't I call it Whisky Hotel? Why don't I just become something that you come in and you check in into the hotel and we ask you if you want a whiskey sample for free, complimentary. So every guest that comes in, let's assume you say yes. I give you a whiskey and you take it neat or on the rocks. That's it. That's the only options you have. And you like it. And you go to the room, you check in the room, they give you the key, you open, and there's a whiskey cabinet in every room. But you already tasted the whiskey. It's in your tongue. You know, whiskey asks you for more. It's just somehow, it just, you know, it itches your tongue. You want a little bit more. You might have a whiskey in the room. The rooms are amazing. The rooms are like new rooms that look like they were built in England in 1870.
Oh my God.
Hardwood
I can't
floors,
wait to see it.
Persian rugs, wallpaper, all antique frames. Let me show you. I'm sitting over here. I'm having this art, painting friends by an artist. For each room, we're going to have different kinds of with gold frames. It's going to look like an old school hotel with whiskey.
Oh.
Then when you go downstairs, there's a whiskey bar and there's a whiskey lobby.
So we could just show up and go to the bar and have a drink,
or to the lobby,
right?
Yeah,
In
and
the lobby,
in the lounge, and have a whiskey. There's a cocktail waitress that come, and you can have any cocktail, but we're going to try to have a very large selection of Japanese whiskeys, which is a very high demand, but a whole section just on that.
Oh wow!
Then we're going to have Scottish, Kentucky. Oh, my partner Brian wants to take me to Kentucky like crazy. When I mean my partner in the whiskey bar in the Phoenix. So it's kind of like the Phoenix, but at the hotel.
Okay. So I want to back up. I got a few questions there. Now, the hotel, do you own the real estate?
All right. So back to I tell you about what the whiskey name came about, right?
Yeah.
So again, in 2001, there was a huge recession in Argentina, the biggest ever. El Corralito. It was when the banks took your money and from your bank.
Oh my God.
They took your money and they used it for their own problems.
Wow.
So the recession was huge in Argentina. And in 2004, I went to Uruguay, next to Argentina, and they were selling land in a very sophisticated area for very little money.
Okay.
This is called Jose Ignacio. If you guys want to Google, Jose Ignacio, Punta del Este, Uruguay. And I bought a piece of land there for very little money. I could tell you the amount, $50,000. It was a huge recession in South America, huge, Argentina, Uruguay. It was nothing. And then I built a very large house, about 550 meters, almost 6,000 square feet.
Wow,
but then the land was cheap, you know? It was in front of the ocean. It was a beautiful area. You can Google it, casasuaya.com.
Okay.
And then I said, what am I going to do in the middle of nowhere? Casa Suaya.
Yeah.
S-U-A-Y-A. And then I said, why don't I put a small posada, small little hotel? I'm going to make 6 rooms just for fun, you know, just to screw around. I have my house. I put a big, very nice swimming pool. And I bought the land next door, and the land next door, and the land next door.
Oh, wow.
At that time, again, it was like Wild West, and nobody knew anything. It was so cheap.
Okay.
I bought for 50. Now it's worth hundreds of thousands each land. $500,000, 600. Anyway, but this is, again, Wild West. And it's all luck. I always believe in business, you got to have 50% vision and talent and 50% luck. I was pretty lucky, okay? I put the hotel, and somehow I was living in America, of course, and I gave the architect a little sketch how I wanted the rooms. Somehow she made the rooms huge.
Huge.
So when I went to see it, huge. When I went to see the construction, I opened the, it was the concrete, and I saw the room. It was, what are you doing? Each room was 55 meters, 550 square feet per room. Imagine the size of rooms, like an apartment.
Right, that's pretty big.
In front of the ocean with a big balcony, and I made it very cute, like shabby chic with antiques and concrete floors. And I opened the hotel in December of 2006, and a very wealthy person came and paid a very chunk of money to sleep in my hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a famous person from Argentina. And then suddenly the place became the first boutique hotel in Jose Ignacio. From 6 room, we have 50 now.
Wow.
And it's been open for 15 years now. And it is extremely successful. So I was starting to switch from restaurateur to hotelier. But I never said to anybody, I'm not a hotelier, because when people ask you, where is your hotel? And I have nothing to show here. I'm waiting for the whiskey to open. Then I will say, I own the whiskey, and that's my credit, my card. That's my business card.
Okay.
That's why I keep saying I'm a restaurateur, because I don't have anything to show.
Right. So, okay. So getting back, so the real estate piece of the whiskey, do you own that, or are you leasing that? So how does that work?
So what happened, it was simple. I was a hotelier already in Uruguay, and then I opened a small boutique hotel in Buenos Aires, in Palermo, called Hotel Clásico.
Okay.
Hotel Clásico. So I had the 2 hotels, was small boutique hotels. And then when I was in LA, I bought the building called the Hillview of Hollywood. It's a very old building. It was built in 1917. It's very beautiful building. I bought it from CIM. And then the building didn't have parking. So I heard there was a parking lot for sale across the street that I could use for the Hillview. And that was their idea. I bought the parking lot. It was not cheap, but I could afford it.
Yep.
And it would be a good match for the building. But then a year or 2 later, I realized that there were hotels being built in Hollywood all over.
Mm-hmm. And
I said to myself, maybe I could put a hotel in the parking lot. I called my lawyer, I called another lawyer, and I said, yes, it's doable. So we went to the very, very painful entitlement, which is like when you ask me what it's like to do a hotel.
Yeah.
Not impossible. Not impossible at all. All I can say to people is, first of all, contact a land use attorney. Like a piece of property somewhere, wherever you might think it might work. And then between the lawyer, the architect, and the property, you could decide if this is a go-ahead or not a go-ahead for a hotel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then you raise the money. I didn't raise money. It was all my own money.
Wow.
But no, just to buy the real estate.
Yeah.
Then when you buy the real estate, if you have the plans approved and the entitlement is issued, I could assure you, you will get the money to build it. So it's hard, but not impossible.
How long did the entitlement process take?
I would say about between a year or 2. I was not very experienced, but if I have to do it again, I was just too afraid. I wouldn't be so afraid anymore. I would just go more into it. Sort of like I'm working in a second hotel now, and I think the way to do it is just go for it. And
just to let people know, because some people might not know what that means, entitlement. So essentially it is going through the process to get all the plans approved by the city.
No. Don't confuse the people. Yeah. Plans approved by the city is one thing. Entitlement is just the use. Can you put a hotel in here? It has nothing to do with the plans. Plans is a nightmare. But the plans, you're going to make it work with the city, back and forth, a little elevator move now. But if you cannot put a hotel in that location, then there's nothing you could do.
Right. There's no point in plans. Yeah.
No, you don't do the plans.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you get it entitled. That means the title means this property says it could be used for a hotel. or it could be used for a restaurant, or it could be used for a bar, or it could just be a single family home.
Right, because it was formerly just a parking lot, which was the use. So you had to get the uses changed.
Changed completely because higher, it was going to be taller than the standard. I asked for variance. It's difficult, but not impossible. I recommend to anyone that wants to do anything, always get an architect and a lawyer. Put them together, lock the property, become friends with the landlord. Perhaps you could do a 90-day exclusivity, so you could do the work. You could put a small down payment to hold it for you. There's many things. I didn't do that. I bought the parking lot because I thought it would be good for the building. But then I realized this amazing parking lot just to use for this building, there's parking everywhere. Why don't they park somewhere else? And they did.
And they did. So they gave you approval to do a hotel, but essentially with no parking, right?
No, I did 2 levels of parking.
Oh,
no
you did.
one,
You did
but 2
subterranean.
2 levels.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 2 levels of parking. Yeah.
And that's because going subterranean,
That's
it's very
awful. I never
expensive,
want to do it
right?
again. Listen, we started on February 5th of last year, and we're going to pour concrete on the ground floor on February 5th of this year. So basically, it took 12 months exactly to get off the floor.
Oh my gosh.
Of the hall. It's awful.
Yeah.
I never want to do it again. My God, I said to myself, what a waste of money. There's parking everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 level, but 2. Ugh.
Why did you end up going 2? Was it required?
Yeah, well, that's the deal you gotta make.
That's the deal you got to make.
They ask you for more. Yeah, they make me. Listen, they make you think that they don't make any sense. When you go to a hotel, you park on the street, they take the car, they took it inside. No, they said. You got to receive the cars inside the building.
Oh, wow.
So I had to make a street inside the property. So the customers go inside the building with the car.
Oh my gosh.
Whole street, 2 lanes with a sidewalk.
Oh my gosh.
Square footage, it is a waste of money.
Yeah. I mean,
how many people come with cars to hotels right now? 20%. Everybody comes in Uber. They don't even take a car. Of course. Why rent a car? We come for 3 days. Come on, be free.
Oh my gosh. So what are you anticipating now that maybe 12 months you'll be open or 18 months?
June 2022, we think.
June 2022. Okay, so
This
about
summer.
year and a half.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's exciting. It's a long process. I love it. It's.
But I say to people, because I wish somebody would have told me how to do it in 3 words. How to put a hotel project in LA or not anywhere in the world, but LA is particular. Land use attorney, architect, piece of property. 1, 2, 3. Not that hard.
That's great advice and tips for anybody listening that wants to create a hotel, develop a hotel, land use, architect, and
land use attorney.
Right. Land
use attorney, an architect, and the piece of land. Whatever piece of land you choose, it doesn't matter. You might say, oh, it never worked. Maybe you could put a 40-room hotel. Maybe you can put 35-room hotel. Who cares? You don't know. My hotel is 134. But depending on your property, the value of your property, I mean, hotel business, I could tell you right now, is better than restaurants. But we'll see. But it is tough. Restaurants are very tough today. Very, very tough.
The timing is actually great to be developing a hotel, because by the time I think that you're done, we're going to be free and clear of this pandemic. So. Yeah.
We hope so.
I know it's been crazy. So Adolfo, you've had incredible success along the way in so many variations in the hospitality business, restaurant business. What do you think you attribute that success to?
I just keep trying. I just always keep, I did bars. I was in the nightclub business. I tried. I
You just
hated it.
keep pushing.
I hated it. I thought the nightclub business was going to be my cup of tea. I
Uh-huh.
love going out. I love drinking. I love girls. I love partying. But it was the dirtiest business I ever encountered.
Wow.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! I just never recommended to anyone that unless you want to be club business are very, very, very tough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Extremely tough. No. Forget tough. No. Everything is tough. Extremely kind of dirty. So it was
Dirty.
not for
Yeah.
me. I did it for 3 years. It's never again. Then I went to the bar business, which I thought, it was a lot better, a
Mm-hmm.
lot nicer, more of a cult. You always want to be in a place that there is some sort of a cult, how would I say it? Pride. The bartender is proud of their job. The real
Mm-hmm.
bartender, bartenders are not whatever people. It's night after night serving drinks or drunk people. They do, believe me, these guys are machines or girls. They are
Yeah.
machines. The hotel industry, same. When you run a hotel, even the cleaning crew of the hotel, they're proud of making the bed. They are really, I mean, if you go to a nice hotel, the bed is made perfect. It's a cult, I would say.
Right.
Restaurants is a little
A little
mixed,
more freewheeling.
free
Yeah.
will, yeah. Uh, but the clubs, there's no cult there.
Yeah.
Who could screw somebody? You screwed the neighbor, the waitress screwed this other girl. She took that table. Blah, blah. Very tough, very tough.
Is it
Competitors will do anything to put you
to
down.
put you down?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they send the fire department to you. They tell them there's a
Really?
overcapacity.
Oh
Oh, I
my
know.
God.
I could tell you names right now. You would be shocked.
A
Big
lot of
names.
dirty
Oh, yeah. I
tricks.
would love
Go.
to
Yeah.
tell you the names right now because they were awful. Wow.
Or you could
Stupid.
tell me afterwards.
Yeah. Anyway, but that was a
Wow.
tough. So I keep trying. I
Yeah.
always try new
Yeah.
things. I was in the garment business for a long time.
And that's a tough business. Some dirty, mean people. I deal with a lot of those people. A lot of my
I,
clients
I
are in that
liked
business.
it. I liked it. I just didn't want to do it anymore.
Hmm.
I didn't mind. I like fashion. I was good at it, I would say, back in my youth in the garment business, but I didn't want to do it anymore. Hospitality is where my heart is. I love to serve people. I love to entertain people in my house. I love to cook for them, make them a drink. I love to host. So, and the
Yeah.
hotel, I mean, bars, hotels are, mano a mano. I think it's
Yeah.
a good combo.
I had a question. These businesses that you've been involved in, whether it's real estate, the hotels, and especially development, restaurants, there's a lot of moving parts in these things, and especially on the development side and in real estate, things don't always go as well as planned. There's changes, things fall apart,
Absolutely.
deals like you wait for this, that. So I'm curious how you handle some of the adversity in some of these bigger complex deals and business ventures when things don't go your way initially. And I know it sounds like a lot has turned out, but I'm sure you've had some bumps along the roads and things didn't go as planned. What do you tell yourself and how do you handle those situations?
Yeah, you can, you gotta try to find ways to fix it.
Hmm.
I don't fight. I try to fix it somehow, whatever it is, I try to fix it. It's my specialty with lawyers, lawsuits, city. It happens constantly. Bumps along the way, like you said, but it could be one a week. You
Hmm.
just try to settle as quick as you can. Don't, you know, you just try to fix it. Whatever it is that happens, let's assume somebody files a lawsuit against me for handicap. Well, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Somebody finds something in a property of yours, and there's people that are looking for these problems. They file a lawsuit, and they sue you for non-compliance. They sue you for a few $100,000. And what you do, you fight a little bit to be able to settle. You pay them, you move on. just try to settle as quick as you can. You always try to fix it. Banks too, they're tough. The banks are tough. You got to make deals. Not for you, not for me. Let's meet in the middle. Not for you, not for me. Always meet in the middle. Even when I buy real estate, I always try to buy the real estate both ways. I don't want to kill the guy, and I want to kill myself. If it's good for me, I want it to be good for him. Let's just make some kind of a deal where everybody's happy. Because some people just want more and more. I can't lose this fight. I'm not guilty. Who cares? You're never guilty until you're guilty. Today I got to go to work. I probably have, I don't know, at least problems to fix. I'm sure today, actually, Friday.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I slept good, had coffee.
So Adolfo, before we wrap up, just a couple of things, and I'll let you go tackle all those issues you have waiting for you. But so just like 3 or 4 more questions. What do you do with, you have a lot going on and a lot of people that depend on you. How do you manage the stress in your life?
I'm not too stressed, I'm never too stressed. I mean, if I'm stressed for a little bit, I just try to, just move on and just put that behind it. And if I can't fix it today, I'll fix it Monday. Sometimes at night you could have a little problem in your head. You can't sleep. You do the best you can to let go. You gotta let go. It's just life. You gotta move on. You have to learn how to move on. I mean, people get stuck into the problems.
Right. So I know, and you seem to like have a very easy way about yourself to let those go when you're dealing with, development is a very complex thing for just that alone.
Well, let's say this. It's very simple. You win some, you lose some. You gotta be able to lose to win. So I lose
I love
constantly to be able to win, because when you are stuck into winning something that you're losing, you're not taking care of the other great stuff that is doing great for you. So just lose here to win here. Some people want to win. I'm about to lose this next week. I'm going to lose. I know this pandemic is brutal, and I'm going to have to lose some stuff. Just keep moving. Keep going.
Don't get so stuck in and let it.
Oh my God! You gotta you lose the million here or 500 or whatever it is. You gotta just patch it. Patch it good. Cover it. Make sure it's all nice and silky. Go to the next thing. There will be new things coming up. I bet you. Listen, I'm older now, and I have children, and I see the young generation so having a hard time creating and come up with something to do. This is it. The pandemic is bad, but it's also good. It's a cleanup. The Standard is closing down today. It was an institution.
I
it was
heard
one of
that.
the greatest concepts ever happened. It's okay. It's a cleanup. So you somehow, I have hopes for the young generations. I hope for the millennials that they wouldn't be able to do anything.
Right.
They couldn't do anything. I believe now they'll be able to find ways to make money. I'm truly, truly hopeful that you'll see. Remember, in every time there's a big recession, things come up.
I believe that too. There'll be new businesses, there'll be new ways and better ways to do business, opportunities in so many different fields, whether it's, technology, hospitality.
Oh my God, hospitality, technology, stock market, service, ideas, new ideas. I mean, with Biden, I don't know, I feel like it's going to happen. I already feel it. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, three rapid fire questions. Make it easy, and then I'll let you get back to your day and your weekend. Okay, so whiskey. I love whiskey. I'm a big whiskey guy myself. Curious what your favorite whiskey is. If you have a go-to, or
actually,
super high-end.
I drink Scotch. I like Macallan 18. That's actually my favorite.
Macallan.
Macallan 18. If you want, I can bring the bottle right
18.
now. Yeah, I take it to my
Okay.
bar. Watch.
Okay, yeah, let's see.
Well, it's not very full, and I also love this Japanese vodka, which is amazing.
All right, we're getting a little tour. Wait, this is okay, so
Bars.
we in your house and looking at the
Yeah.
bar. Oh, okay. All right.
This is the Macallan 18.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
That's
I almost finished. And this is the vodka I'm telling you right now. It's phenomenal. Haku vodka. I'm a very big vodka drinker.
Haiku box. Okay.
Phenomenal.
I love that. That's interesting. I don't really know about vodkas that much, but I'm going to put that on my list. Okay, so you are sort of an icon here in LA, and international, I suppose. But for LA purposes, Adolfo, what is one of your favorite things to do or places to visit in LA that you would recommend to people?
People that are not from here?
Well, it could be, I mean, could be, believe me, there's a lot of people here in LA that don't really do anything, doesn't matter. So if you're, what do you like or is a fun thing to do in LA or a place to visit in the greater LA area?
Well, LA is one of the greatest cities in the world, in my opinion. The only hiccup of LA is the driving and the distance between one place and another.
Yeah.
Now that the pandemic hit, I was able to drive a lot more than I usually do because I hate traffic. But Runyon Canyon is a beautiful thing to do. Go hiking to Runyon Canyon. Yeah, Runyon Canyon. It's a very unique experience. Being in the middle of nowhere with the greatest view, and be in nature and take your dog there is just like a total treat, especially on the weekdays. I quite often go to the beach. Now that I have a Jack Russell, I take my dog to the beach very early in the morning before the police come and gives me a ticket. That's a beautiful thing to do. And I always go to the beach when people are still sleeping. And when I come back from the beach, I can see the traffic going into the beach. I went to the beach on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this last week.
Okay.
It was really, and I went at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. There was no one there. And then by the time I came back at 12:31, the traffic was insane. Everybody going to the beach. So I like to be able to do
opposite of what,
opposites. And I love to go to restaurants. My thing is to go to every new restaurant that opens. I gotta go check it out. I'm obsessed with the new restaurants. I love new restaurants.
Oh, that's great. Do you feel like when you go to these new restaurants, can you go there as a customer, or do you feel like you're going there as a critic because you're a restaurateur?
I just love this question. I'm actually so easygoing. The only thing in the restaurant to me is the service. This could throw me off. But the food, I love the experience. You know, I went to this new restaurant just before I left to Uruguay, in downtown across from Bestia, a big chef from Pujol in Mexico, Dama, I think it's called. Dama, you heard of it?
Dama. I haven't been there yet.
Yeah, let me see. And I tell you, it is an experience. They make their own tortillas they grind their own corn.
Really?
No, they have this thing called hamachi carnitas, which is yellowtail fish.
Yeah.
Made into carnitas. So it's like, it tastes like pork, but it's fish. Oh my God, with onions. It's like, wow. Great restaurant to try. La Dama.
Well, when they open up again,
yeah. It's not Dama. I'm not saying it right, but something like that.
I know where the Bestia is. Yeah. Okay. So it's right across from Bestia.
Bestia.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Over. Yeah. In the Arts District. Yeah, because Bestia is over in the Arts District.
Right. Yeah. It's in that little alley.
In that little alley. Yeah. Like 7th place. Yeah. I know where that is. Okay. All right, fair enough. My last question is, if you could ask the audience to do one thing to make LA a better place, what would you ask the listeners to do?
I mean, LA people are great. You know, I will say I lived in New York and I live in Paris, and I wish everyone will cut up the bullshit. I don't know how to really describe it, because they're all good people. They all want to be here because we love the weather, we love the flexibility, we love the freedom to be by yourself if you want to. Let's just be more real. We don't have to be in a movie. Hollywood, it's not LA anymore. LA is much bigger than just Hollywood. I mean, the movies.
Yeah.
Just be honest with each other and reach out. Because what happens when sometimes you meet people, they're full of shit.
Yeah.
And then you shut yourself, almost like if they didn't know, you know they're full of shit. We all know. LA is a village. Everybody knows everything. Just be honest. You're doing bad. Just say, I'm doing bad. I need help. I'm, you know, just cut up the bullshit. Let's be honest with each other and just try to reach out, you know. Don't be like pretending, or this is not a movie. This is real life.
Right.
Amazing city. We live in the best city in the world.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that's such a great way to end. And if people wanted to learn more, Adolfo, about either the Whisky Hotel or about you, is there a way for people to follow you or connect with you on social media at all?
Instagram is the best way to do it. Adolfo Suaya is my Instagram, just like it sounds, Adolfo Suaya. I'm very open to things that I do on Instagram. I'm very exposed. I show the hotel construction almost every day. I build houses also. And I have a TV show called Latin American Foodie, which is a show about food that travel around the world.
And you're still doing that?
I'm doing it for 8 years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's in YouTube.
I know, we didn't even get into that.
Yeah, that's actually my passion. I love doing that. Yeah. I can't wait to get in the road again. It's like the Anthony Bourdain in Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all for Latin America. But I
love
doing it. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe we'll do a part 2 after you open the hotel, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe we could do the podcast. We'll do it from the hotel. That would be kind of neat in a year and a half.
The lobby. You're going to flip out in the lobby. It's very sexy.
Okay. Well, I can't wait. That is awesome. So you can find Adolfo on Instagram, the best place, and he could share a lot of his projects. Adolfo, thank you so much. This was so fascinating. There were so many roads we went down here with you. You have such an interesting background, and I hope people find some value and interest out of this. So,
all right.
Thanks so much. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.